Hi everyone, this is Kunal from Loop 91. Today we are talking about Flow Designer and in particular requirement that we have. Imagine a table that we have. This is extended from task and we have this option to send an email to user, and we already done that. Just for this example, we have sent an email to this user and asked them that they need to revert with a CSV attachment that contains their supported argument, and the user has reverted and they have sent the CSV file to us, and we can actually go and look at that file. If you were to open emails, you will see that this email came back and it does have an attachment file.csv with it. So what we need to do is that whenever an email is sent to ServiceNow as a response to such emails, we need to parse a CSV file that is attached to this email, convert that content data to simple text in form of table, and attach that to additional comments. So let us go through the process. So what we will do is we'll create a new flow. We'll set the trigger that it is an incoming reply on this particular table and the subject contains CSV attachment and it has a CSV attachment. We'll parse a CSV file, we'll convert the CSV content to a tabular text and add the tabular text to the original record, additional comments. So let's get started. We will jump to Flow Designer. All right, we are in Flow Designer, and you can see that I've tried it out in a different time, but yeah, we'll start with a new flow. We will create a new flow and we'll call it project proposal parse CSV from email replies. Right, and we will click on build flow, and once we are here we will add a trigger, and that is inbound email, and we will select our table, that is project proposal, and we will if you remember, we had the condition where the subject must contain this text, and the text was CSV attachment. We'll type it there. Alright, done. So up till now what we have done is that we have created a new flow that will run every time an email is sent where it is connected to this any record on this table. It wouldn't matter if this record or any other record, any record on this table, and if the subject contains CSV attachment. The next step would be for us to actually look up the attachments. So what we'll do is we will find out attachments, look up email attachments, and since it is a flow, we will select the email record. We'll go to trigger inbound email record, and that's it, that is done. So if you see, when you looked up email attachments, we got this, which is email attachment records. So we will run a for loop here. Look up email attachments, and that is done. Now it gives you a for loop. Now let us check whether the record actually has a CSV file or something else. So check for CSV extension on attachment. For each email attachment, file name contains. Now I've used contains, but you can always write a script for it rather than point and click to create a better filter. But for this example, we'll just suffice with this. So now that we know it is a CSV file, we need to now parse it. Now, flow design has many things, but definitely not parsers. So if you were to look parse, you will not find any CSV or JSON or XML parsers. Maybe they are available in some application within Integration Hub, but out of the box, no, there's none. So what we need to do is we need to create an action for ourselves. So we'll click here, new, and action. Convert attachment sys_id to a tabular data. So we will take attachment sys_id and convert that into a tabular text data. Build action. Our input for this action would be attachment sys_id. It's a string, that is all we need, but we definitely need to make it mandatory, because without it, nothing from our side would work. Once we set up the inputs, we need to set up a script step. Alright, so this is our script, and we will create an input variable, and that is attachment sys_id, and value we will take from inputs attachment sys_id. Now you might think we already had inputs, why did we create input again? The simple answer is that you could have multiple script or multiple action steps within this action, and you might want to organize them as you like. For example, output of this script could be used as an input in the second script step. So since we are looking at just one, it looks superfluous, but it is kind of necessary. All right, so when you run the script, the attachment sys_id would be available as, let's just JSON for it, right? So it would be attachment ID would be inputs dot attachment sys_id, right? Now we will save it. Attachment ID. Okay, we will save it, and then we would test it quickly, and we'll pass it any random string and just run it, and we'll quickly go to system logs and see if that showed up, right? So here we see attachment ID is random string. That means our script is working. So now that we know that we can use this, we will simply assign that to now we will pick it from glide record. Let's just return empty, right? So we will return it, nothing else. But if we get the attachment, what we will do is we will try to read the content from it. Actually, I have this script written. Let me just copy it for to just get it done quickly. I just explained to you what I have written the script. I had written the script where my input ID was attachment and not this. So we'll just copy this and put it here so that it will continue to work. We have created new glide record object for sys attachment, and we are trying to get the record where we get the record of the attachment where it is inputs.attachment. And once we have it, we will try to get the content, and the to get content is very simple function from sys attachment class, that is get content. And if it is done, we set the output message to success, and we set the output CSV table text to CSV to table content. Now CSV to table is a very simple function that I had LML write, and what it does, it takes CSV and converts into a tabular form. Now what you see here is that we are setting two outputs variables. One is message and one is CSV table text. Now message is something that is already present here, if you see, and CSV table text is something that we need to create. We need to declare this output field, and we do it here. We put it here, and it is a string because we wanted a string. Now we can save this, and now we jump to the action outputs. Similar to what we had in particular action step, we define the input and output for this step. Now similarly, we will also set up output for the whole action, and it is important because this is how your flow designer populates these values. For example, when you selected lookup email attachments, so the system knew the output of this function would be these 7 outputs. Similar to this, when we define the output here, that will make sure the flow designer knows that it is expecting a CSV table tabular data, right? So we'll create a new here, and we will call it the same name that we call it there. And once we create it, we will exit edit mode, and we get into assignment mode. So once here, you can click on selector and script step and select the output name that we set there. So this is done, right? So we will quickly test this function. If you remember, we had seen those emails, right? So let us go and open that email and look up this attachment SysID. So this was the one. If we were to open this, and if we see, this is the one, right? So we will copy the link here, paste it here, and we will copy the SysID from here and test it and run test. We'll click on the execution details, and it should show you what was the output, right? So what you see is stepwise detail of how flow designer has executed this particular test. So the input was attachment SysID, and that it's the SysID number that we put in. The CSV table text was our output, and if you see, this is how it looks like. I will try to show you quickly the actual content of the file, or we will attach it to attach the content below here. But yeah, so this is roughly it. We know our action works. So what we'll do is we'll publish this. Publish. And once we publish it, it should be available for us to work with here. So if it is CSV extension, we will try to use it and convert it into CSV file, right? So Starfleet content attachment SysID to tabular data. This is what we used. Now we need attachment SysID. So again, we open the selector for each email attachment and attachment, its SysID. That's it, done. Once we have it, once we added this function here, you see that now we have an option here which says CSV table text, right? So let's log it for now. Let us see how it looks like, right? So we will use log here, most recent, and what we will log is converted content, and then we will add the out from there. Done. And now we will test it on the inbound email that we received a while ago. So this was it. This was the reply that we got. And if you were to run test on this one again, show you the execution details stepwise, what happened and how did it work, right? So it got an inbound email because we used an inbound email. It looked up sys attachments. Now if you were to expand it, it will actually show you the email attachments, and it shows you the sys ID of that particular email attachment. Then it converts the sys ID to tabular data, but here you see that output is null, which means something did not work. So what we'll look up is if we selected the correct SysID. So this is the SysID used here, and I want to remember. Let me see, we had pasted it somewhere, right? Give me a moment, I'll just look it up. Yeah, so that was different. It was a different SysID. That means something is wrong here where we selected the attachment SysID to send it to here. So if you were to look here, this file sysattachment starts with 052FI. You can look at it in the footer of the browser. And what we see there is a different, that the SysID, what we saw here was 4D2. So one way to understand what went wrong is we just simply copy this text and search it using SNUtils, and let us see what it opens. So what it opened was the email record, not the sys attachment SysID. So that means we did put in the wrong value. So let's quickly go to our flow and let's remove this. That means we did something wrong, and let me see what was it. So look up email, this particular record, and attachment, and then SysID. Oh wait, so what we did was we selected table SysID, and table SysID is the reference of table where this attachment is attached. So that was our mistake. So we will choose SysID, done, and test it again. Let's look up the test results, and I think, yeah, now you will see that it did log it correctly. We'll quickly jump to logs to see how they look like. And here it is, converted content, header 1212, value 12. So all we need to do now is to actually update our parent record with this content, right? So we can remove the log info, and we will add update record, and we will select the inbound email, and project proposal record is the one that we need. So project proposal record is one that we need to update, and we need to update additional comments, and user responded with CSV containing following details, enter, and then we'll select the output from that function, done, and then we'll quickly test it. And to see if it worked, we can go to the task, and you see there is, you responded with CSV containing following details, header 1, value 1, and value 2. That's it. So what we have learned today is that Flow Designer can be a bit daunting in its start. It is, at times you would feel that it's a half-baked product, it has some issues, but at the same time it does save you lots of time in scripting. It saves a lot of time in trying to do repetitive tasks. So for example, if this all could have been done using inbound action scripting, but then you are the one who is maintaining those scripts, and if you use Flow Designers, it is ServiceNow who maintains that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you again. And as usual, as always that I ask you, if you like the videos, do like and subscribe. And if you're being generous, if you really liked it, share it with others. Thank you.